Okay, so the first message that is coming out here is they're saying patterns don't have to repeat. Okay, what that means is that I feel like some of you were in a situation where your own parents, your own mom and dad, might have been divorced, right? Might have been separated, might have been divorced, might have faced a lot of emotional or even difficulties. Like you might have grown up in an environment that was very, very unstable because it was like a single parent household. Parents were not speaking to each other. There was this underlying current of jealousy or even hostility between parents. And I feel like some of you might have been in a blended family where, you know, your dad might have had another family, your mom might have had another family. You felt kind of shuffled around. You felt almost as if you didn't have that sense of family, right? And so you go into the world, and in your relationships, you were constantly looking for that sense of you were trying to create this family, this idyllic family, you know, two parents, two pets, two kids, possibly taking care of an elderly parent, living in the same household. You were trying to create this idyllic type of a situation because you didn't have it growing up. And what it means is that in the process of searching, you know, this is a generational card. It's things that are karmically passed on from different generations. So for example, if you grew up with a lot of, with like substance abuse, you know, it's a chain of abuse that can continue. And likewise, neglect, it's a chain of events that can pass down from generations. If we were taught to behave a certain way that might not be good, we can pass these things down to our children if we don't catch them. So I feel like these are like generational things that are passed down from parents from different generations. And I feel like they might not have been healthy ways of doing. And so you might need to be the one to break the cycle. So for example, if you grew up in, you know, that broken household, for example, you might go through life feeling as if you yourself have been separated or divorced, you might feel as if I failed at creating the home that I'm looking for, or the home that I desperately crave. I failed at it. So don't beat yourself up over it, okay? Because I feel like we live and learn. And in the process of moving forward, as long as, you know, it doesn't require a traditional family to raise a child, right? It doesn't require these things. As long as both people agree that we're not right for each other, we need to part ways, then it's done in a spirit of compromise. It's done in the spirit of wisdom. So I feel like your definition of what family means, your definition of what you want out of a stable relationship is going to change drastically for this month. And I feel like you're simplifying your expectations, or at least you're becoming a lot more realistic about your expectations. Others of you might have been in a huge hurry, you know, to bypass like the steps in order to create that family. So you might have rushed into marriage. You might have rushed into relationship. You might have rushed into love partnerships, like dating someone and then, you know, projecting these qualities onto them that makes them marriage material when in fact they weren't marriage material. So it's kind of like clinging on very, very strongly to this ideal family that you want, and you're projecting qualities or putting the other person on a pedestal where they did not belong. And so when they disappointed you, it just like, it created a lot of difficulties for you to move on because you had such high hopes and expectations, and you had like unrealistic expectations in that relationship. The last thing that I'm feeling for some of you is that I feel like you rushed a relationship in the past, and now you've learned your lesson. Okay, so it's kind of like lesson learned either way. This is a generational wealth once again, and it's going to take a lot of time to build, and it's going to take a lot of concerted effort from both parties, from all people involved, in order to build it from the ground up. And I feel like with it in the reverse position, it's almost as if you jumped the gun, you rushed a relationship, and you might have been with the wrong person, but you were rushing, so you didn't realize they were the wrong person. Either that, or you rushed the other person along and they weren't ready it has nothing to do with them, you know, not loving you or anything like that. I just feel like they wanted specific things in place first before they can commit, but you wanted to give them the ultimatum. You rushed something along, and the time wasn't right. Okay. So I feel like you're starting to realize that. You're starting to open your eyes to the fact that things need a lot of time to develop. And, you know, that's a major lesson for a lot of Aries, because you guys, first sign of the zodiac, you're very, very spirited and you're quite impatient. And so I feel like a lot of you have come to this realization that things can't be built overnight. You know, you can't rush another person, because it's also contingent upon where they are in life, what their station is, and, you know, what their plans are as well. So I feel coming through for this month in terms of relationship, you're going to be a little bit slower in your approach, or you should be slower in your approach. And you're going to try to nurture something from the ground up so that it can sustain that test of time. Okay. So major lessons for you guys as it relates to the family. And I feel like they keep mentioning something about the behavior of the mother is being repeated with the child. So if your mother has been somebody who's quite impulsive, I feel like you're starting to realize, you know, I'm exactly like mom. Or if your father as well was quite impulsive, you might feel like exactly like dad. So there's something here about generational expectations, generational rifts as well. I'm going to give you one more outcome card and see what both of these are linked up with. So I have here the Eight of Wands. All right, so let's just talk about this. Let's talk about the crowning energy first. The crowning energy is pretty much what you're thinking about moving into the month of February, okay? We have here the Hermit and the Ten of Cups. And the Hermit is a card about looking at somebody. It's kind of like digging information out of, looking, it's almost like social media stalking. It's almost like asking mutual friends, hey, what's my ex up to? You know, what's such and such up to? Who is he with right now? Who is she with right now? Are they still single? Are they married? Like you're looking into information. You're looking for information about a specific person from your past. I feel like the person, once upon a time, they were somebody that you had a very, very long relationship with. And this might be 5 years, 10 years. It's something that was very significant, and it was very, very long. It shows up here as the Ten of Coins, and I feel like it might have been somebody you were married to. It might have been somebody that you might have told your friends, you know, this is like the love of my life. There might have been plans for wedding, so engagement. You might have been engaged to this person. And I feel like the relationship has, you're thinking about ways in which you can even repair it. You're thinking heavily about them, and you're thinking about, you know, what are they up to? Who are they with? And you might be feeling a little bit ashamed that you're thinking about these things, that you're not able to let them go. So there's still like a thorn in your side, and you're still wondering about this person, even though you knew that compatibility wise, you both were not working in accordance with one another, where you can build a sustainable family, where you can build a future together. Okay. Financially, they might have been a very, very big drain on you. So I do see some codependent situation. I do see some boundary issues between you and this person. It's almost as if whatever you were making, they used it as if it was as if, you know, the money belonged to them. There might have been a lot of shared resources and assets between both people. And as a result of it, I feel like you loved them to the point where you were able to make a lot of sacrifices for them. But they weren't able to do the same thing for you. They were somebody who's a little bit more calculating. They held grudges. is what I'm feeling. So I feel like this is something that you're grappling with, you know. It's like a love-hate type of thing, but you're still kind of curious. You're still wondering what they're up to. You're still trying to figure out, you know, who they're with and things like that. I don't feel that you are physically going back to it, because I do see some blockages here. With the Hermit as a major arcana card, it indicates something that is no longer good for you, and you are aware that it's no longer good for you. But there's this need for information, need for closure, need for like, I feel like just need for validation, where you might be digging into to see what they're up to, okay? So that's coming out first. In the past, we have here the Four of Swords, as well as the Seven of Coins. And I feel like you were dealing with a person, it might have been an earth sign, okay? So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What I'm feeling associated with this person is that they're saying there's a very, very long period of waiting for this person. You found yourself constantly waiting for them. So it's almost as if, you know, you told them this is what I want, and they're like, I'm not ready for that. Can you give me more time? For whatever reason, I feel like those were messages coming through associated with your interaction with this person from the past. They might have been in school. They might have been trying to get their career on track. But either way, what it showed to you, what it revealed to you, was that they didn't prioritize you. They prioritized whatever else was going on in their lives, okay? And you know, I mean, to be fair, a lot of the times we have to get we have to get our ducks in a row before we can commit fully to another person. But I feel like you were ready to commit to somebody, but they made you wait. And I feel that the whole waiting process, it made you feel kind of like put on the back burner. It made you feel as if they didn't appreciate you. And it made you feel almost as if I was foolish for waiting for so long. I was foolish for always putting my needs on hold in order to accommodate the other person. So I feel like there was a lot of resentment coming through associated with this relationship, because it feels almost as if two people were not working towards a common goal, okay? This is like building something of value. Two people who are seeing eye to eye. There's great attraction. I feel like there's great attraction. There's great chemistry with this person from your past, but I feel like you both were not, your realities of the future that you want to build with one another is very, very different, is very muddled. And as a result of it, you don't see eye to eye, and you can't really, I want to say, like, you can't really build a future together. They're just not the right person for you, and they couldn't give you what you wanted. And I feel a lot of you really put your heart out there, you know. This is somebody making their wearing your heart on your sleeves. You left your feelings out there. You let them know that you would always wait for them. And so this whole process of waiting, it left you kind of empty, okay? In the present situation, I feel like a lot of you are drawing back your energy. I feel like for those of you who are in committed relationships, there's a lot of responsibilities that you are shouldering, but you're doing it in a very, very happy manner. And then others of you are trying to find your footing again because you have left this relationship behind. You're still thinking about them, but you know that they're not good for you. You know that they can't make a comeback in your life because it's going to lead to more disappointment. And so you're trying to, you know, get out there to start dating, to really find the one. And so they're saying like you're letting go of that expectation from the past, and you're trying to rebuild your empire. You're trying to rebuild your sense of self, and you're trying to make yourself, cultivate yourself in a way where you are ready again to invite another person into your life, okay? And then for others, I feel like, you know, the responsibilities of parenting, motherhood, and even fatherhood, it's taking its toll on you. And I do sense as well that you're doing it happily, but I feel like there's some imbalances between responsibilities shared between two people. So if you're in a relationship, there's some imbalances here that needs to be straightened out, because I feel like it's repeating an old cycle where it could create resentment further down the line if it's not dealt with. So somebody, and I feel like somebody feels almost as if they're bearing the brunt of the relationship, Somebody's doing a lot of the housework. They're also doing a lot of the personal work. They're taking care of all their kids' responsibilities, and the other parent is too busy to chip in. So there needs to be a restoration with that balance. You know, there needs to be a balancing out of the responsibilities, who's doing what, so that it's fair and so that it's manageable for both parties. Okay. Once again, the message that I'm feeling here is, especially a lot of you might have been in a situation where, and this is, you know, not going to apply to all, so please don't get offended, because I feel like this is a little bit of a harsh message. I feel like you might have had a mother figure that was a little bit more self-absorbed. You know, like growing up, she might have put her needs first, and she might not have been there for you emotionally when you needed her. She might not have been like the type of mom that's very affectionate. She loves you, I feel that, but I feel like she's not the affectionate type. She's not somebody that emotionally or even physically expresses her love. And so you're examining her behavior and you're vowing to yourself, if I ever become a mother, if I ever become a father, I'm going to behave differently. So I feel like some of you are coming to that realization as well when it comes to your love relationships, and how you can incorporate things like best practices based on your parental interaction, how your parents interacted with each other when you were growing up. And, you know, you're going to take away the good and leave the bad. So you're learning from your parents how to be a really, really good mother, how to be a very good father, how to be a really good partner. And I feel like these things are coming through as powerful lessons, because now you're starting to see, like, you know, I understand why I have the parents that I have, because they're making me a better person, despite their flaws, despite their, you know, despite the good and the bad. I feel like you're starting to realize that, you know, I have my mom for a reason, because I'm learning certain things from her, or I have my dad for a reason, because I'm learning certain things from him, what not to do and what to do. So I feel like that's helping you navigate some issues that you're having in your current relationships right now. Okay, so it's very positive. It's very like inspiring. In terms of your foundation, and the foundation is something that you're bringing into the month of February with, okay, the knowledge or the physical item or the physical thing. So we have here the Knight of Wands as well as the Five of Coins. For those of you who are single, you're carrying a torch for somebody. So we have here the Knight of Wands. This is somebody who's very, very spirited. And this is somebody that is, you know, they're kind of like, they're loving their life and they're living their life, and they're not going to be stuck in the past moping. I feel like you did go through a major cathartic experience where you left a significant soul relationship behind. And I feel like you're still thinking about that person, but you're moving on with your life and you're trying to branch out. You're trying to meet new people. There might be another fire sign as well coming into the picture for some of you. This is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And this is somebody that is carrying a torch for you likewise. And I feel like they're going to, it's like shining light in a very dark cave, okay? Bringing you light, bringing you hope, bringing you some type of warmth in a place where you feel very dejected, okay? So I feel like somebody's coming, carrying a torch for you, and they're going to be approaching you, and it's another fire sign. What's coming through in the outcome position here? We have the Hierophant, leaving behind, I guess, like expectations of what family should be, of what relationship should be like, and moving forward. So both of these things indicate leaving one thing behind, all of the expectations associated with it, and moving on with a new love relationship. So I feel like some of you are dealing with separation, divorce. You have somebody new in the picture, possibly another fire sign, and you're moving on. You're not looking back, okay? So I feel like there's a certain level of finality here. Even though you're thinking about it, you're not going back to the past. You've learned some major lessons as it comes to, you know, pertains to like parenting, as it comes from your own parents and their experience, and you're vowing not to repeat that. And I do feel some of you have a new crush, a new person that is in your life pursuing you. And so you're moving ahead, and there's going to be a lot of communication back and forth between you specifically and that fire sign. You're dealing with another fire sign, okay? Very good love spread overall. The energy is very nice. I feel like it's just it's allowing you to close some doors. It's giving you some closure. And I do sense that, this is a really good time for all of you to as well move on, okay? For those of you who are dealing with who are in relationships and who are, trying to figure out what's fair and what's not, I do feel that by the end of the month, you're going to be able to have a breakthrough in communication. You're going to be able to realize that, my partner and I have been dealing with some difficulties, but we are wiser and we are able to communicate thoroughly and effectively. And as a result, you're able to figure out some resolution for it, okay? So I feel like you have some very good energy coming through here, Aries.